So, Michael, we're sitting here on this most extraordinary, sad day, and a day which I know none of us was anticipating happening quite as suddenly as it did. I think particularly seeing the Queen with Liz Truss a couple of days ago,
Yes.
we just assumed that she was well and would carry on being well.
Yes.
So this has hit us hard, as it would whenever it would happen. We're sitting in the Mayor's Parlour in Ipswich Town Hall, having just done a little rehearsal for the proclamation of the new King, which will happen tomorrow, Sunday lunchtime. So this is an opportunity for us, rather than reflect on the readings for Sunday, just to reflect on the sorts of themes that we might pick up when we preach on Sunday, and indeed as we reflect through the weeks ahead. So I just wonder what particular thoughts are in your mind at the moment.
Well, I mean, like you said, there's that initial sense of shock. And I think my own thoughts in the last 24 hours have been echoed through the media, where people have been saying, well, you sort of knew that this would happen at some point, but when the reality hits it catches you off guard. And so I've definitely been caught unawares. And my mind in that has been turning to that sense of the Queen being this steadfast person in the life of the nation, and how extraordinary it was that she was able to embody that and live that life consistently for those 70 years. And in some ways it was almost a challenge to myself to think, right, well, that sense of stability and calmness and reflection is something that perhaps I need to embody, and that we all need to embody as we think. So that was certainly my starting point.
Yeah. No, I do have this deep sense of, first of all, of loss, of absence. I woke up this morning thinking, there's something missing. There's someone missing, and that the absence is of an embodiment. And it's interesting, isn't it, in our nation's life, that we don't have written documents that say this is what we're like. We have a person who embodies what we're like, or embodies what we might aspire to be like, and indeed embodies what they inspire, and she has aspired to be like. And I've been struck reflecting through the day, and as you know, I've done, as any of us in these situations will be doing, a number of radio and newspaper interviews. Struck by those values, all of which we can see flow from her Christian character, which were values of fortitude and courage, endurance, hard work, a profound sense of family, a profound sense of community and inclusive community, and then a wonderfully wry sense of humour that would come out in various moments, but not being thrown by the vicissitudes of daily life or indeed political life. Somehow not. I mean, people talk about her being above it. I'm not sure she was above it, because she was clearly regularly briefed politically. She was within it, but she held a position within it of saying, yes, this may seem very important right now. You may be getting very exercised about this right now, but actually the most important thing is this. And I think that's a, you saying what we emulate now. I mean, I think there is something about paying attention to how we emulate that sort of disposition within the midst of the immense challenges that we are facing in this country right now.
Yes, and I think, reflecting on what you've just said, there is that sense that Her late Majesty was able to sort of give a sense of like what was really important. Her life was actually devoted to, yes, there were the politics and the good state dinners and those matters, but also reaching out to groups and individuals and communities that were doing wonderful work that nobody would know about. She sort of shone a light on it, and that sense of priority, and I think that can only come from somebody who is deeply reflective. And also, as we know about the life of the late Majesty, was that she was a great prayer. She was very open and honest about that. And I think that side of her Christian faith must have been part of that way that she was anchored into that bigger picture.
And I'm struck as we look forward now and pray for and commit ourselves to the King, that whom we know embodies much of that, but will do that differently. So part of what we do in our adjustment, in our coming to terms with the Queen's death, is to notice and receive the way in which Charles will be himself, and will be the King in his particular way. Now, I mean, I know he's commented before that fully recognises that he will not be, as it were, the campaigner that he has been. That is not the role of the King. But he will embody values, the sorts of values Her Majesty embodied. He will embody those values as King, but differently.
And that's really important, I think, as we go through that period of transition, to begin to see that, and as you say, recognise it, not only in the life of the nation and in the new King, but in ourselves. And I think that's why that key anthem that we say in our national life, God save the King, God save the Queen, God save the King, is really important. It's not overly prescriptive. It's a prayer and an anthem to say, God be with this person. And that's our aspiration.
And which points up what we started by saying, that at the heart of this is how we are as people, how the Queen was, how the King is, how we are as people. And if we cast all of that in the foundation of our Christian faith, it is all as how Jesus is. It is that that focus on the person and being the person that shapes everything else that we're about. Michael, thank you. And we hold the King and his family in our prayers, and recognise that many of us are involved in all sorts of ways in events that we wish were not happening but will be happening in the next 10 days or so.
Yes.
Thank you.